Hey everyone, Mike here today with some thoughts on Yakuza Kiwami. As usual for all my videos, this is going to be super spoiler free. I don't want to get into any specifics, keep it as spoiler free as possible. And fun enough, this game actually provides a open world mode that's after the main story, so we're going to go ahead and use that. We'll do some side missions, but they're not really tied to the story per se, so you might see one of 100-ish side missions available in this game. So yeah, these are story games first and foremost, which is why I'm not going to look at that car. Actually, that's probably going to be an item. And if it isn't, we'll be in for a nice little battle. Hey, we're in for a battle. Fun times. So, yeah, story-wise, not really a whole lot to talk about because, again, I don't want to spoil anything. But this is a story-driven game first and foremost. There's tons of characters, tons of different storylines. There's just a crap ton of stuff that goes on in this game. And, yeah, thoroughly enjoyable from start to end. I've had a lot of fun playing through this. And I cannot wait to play through the next game, Kiwami 2, Yakuza 3, 4, 5, and 6. So they're all available on Game Pass. So great time to get into them if you have Game Pass. Other than your active subscription, very low cost of entry, right? And these are phenomenal games. So, yeah, story-wise, super basic overview. Again, no spoilers here. At the very beginning of the game, you've basically left your 10-year jail sentence, and you're not part of the Yakuza. That's one of the things you learn right from the beginning. And this 10 billion yen that's disappeared from the Yakuza, things happen. You get dragged into it somehow. Even though you don't want to, you don't care much for it. But, again, things happen, right? So you get sucked into this battle that's not really yours to fight. And you get to do all sorts of stuff. You get to meet all sorts of people. Tons of different missions and problems to solve. And you gotta help out tons of people, too, along the way. So yeah, fun story, great stuff, a lot of pretty sad moments throughout, which sucks, but it is what it is. And like I said before, I'm really looking forward to the next couple games and see where they go. So beyond that, there's a lot of side missions, side stuff. Can be pretty entertaining. I won't say like they're must play necessarily, but for some of the entertainment value alone, they're pretty interesting. And one of the fun things that they've done in this game in particular is they've made the side missions feel a bit more important or significant in a way. The side missions are still detached from the main story and just fun side things to do, right? Or activities or whatever. But what they changed up in this game is they made it so they give quite a bit of XP, and that XP is very useful in getting upgrades. So you do have a lot more incentive in doing them, whereas with Yakuza 0, I found a lot of side missions where they're kind of filler. I mean, you might get items off of them, you might get stuff here and there. You got some XP, but not a whole lot. So having a bit more incentive in this game helped to go a long way. And on top of that, the combat system as well. They changed up how you'd spend XP for your combat system. So as opposed to upgrading one of 3 stances, there's technically a 4th stance in this game, which is what you get from fighting this Majima guy. And the Majima Majima everywhere system. It's a weird thing. He shows up anywhere. You fight him, and you get different upgrades for your force stance. Just to give you a bit of a hint. But yeah, to come back to the point that you get a lot of XP. Well, the way you're spending XP is very different in this game. So instead of actually increasing parts of your stance, you're increasing specific attributes, which generally work with all of your stances. So this case, heat actions, right, which are the things that heat gauge there. That's blue and red at the bottom. Those are the triangle, the Y abilities. I am on an Xbox controller. So a lot of these upgrades here affect that. The next set here is actual moves and combos you can do. So I've got tons of XP now because obviously I beat the game, so I got a lot of points off of that. But it's made the side stuff a lot more important. You know, you get a lot more points, and upgrading abilities is really helpful. And it feels more helpful to go out of your way to do side stuff because you get so much more XP. At least it seems like it. Officially, I don't really know, but it felt that way. You know, I can get a lot of levels quickly. I can upgrade a lot of abilities easily by doing side stuff. And the upgrades felt more worthwhile because they generally applied, you know, especially these, which is just health. Now, some of the health upgrades in the previous game technically applied to every stance, but it's nicer to do it this way because the health upgrades weren't necessarily linear either. You had to go through and get a bunch of stuff in each stance to get there. So I never upgraded the abilities much in the previous game. You know, I never went out of my way to do it. So in case you're wondering, whoops, I'll take a quick step back. So 1742 is my current playtime. Obviously, I've been recording for 7.5 minutes. So subtract that, so about 17.5 hours. I could have definitely done it quicker than that, under 15 very easily, but I put in a couple periods of time there where I did a bunch of side stuff. And as you can see, I was only at 32%. So if we just go through the list here, right? Talk to 300 people, or talk to people 300 times, right? These count towards the completion. So battle, I've got a decent amount on the battle. Sub-stories, I'm pretty close. The Majima everywhere system, have not gone very far in that. And then the minigames, there's a lot of minigames, and I'm pretty far from doing that. So, you know, 32%, yeah, this is like 32% of all the side stuff that's not tied to the main story. I think there's 78 sub-stories in this game, so there's a lot of side stuff to do. So we'll just walk up to one of those. But yeah, I don't really have a whole lot else to add, really, other than it's a great game. It's really fun to play. You know, I'm not crazy about brawlers, this kind of game in general, but the story is so good that it kept me going, and I've had a lot of fun playing through it. And one of the nice things about this game too is I felt the combat kind of mixed things up a little bit more. I found myself, you know, the first 3/4 of the game, I played very much the same way I was playing in Yakuza 0, where I was using the same, you know, 4-button combo, the same stance, always playing kind of down the same strategy that I was. Oh yes, this side mission. Oh, I guess we aren't gonna get to do it. Oh, well maybe. Ah. Okay, I guess we won't get to do it. So, anyways, yeah, they made the combat a bit more tough at points to a certain extent, and I found myself in the last kind of quarter of the game actually making use of the different stances and switching it up, and more importantly, dodging and blocking. Not as much blocking, but definitely dodging. So that's one of the interesting things about this game. So I wasn't just brute forcing the battles like I was in the previous game. So that's a nice thing to see. And yeah, I guess that's about I've got everything to say about this game, really. Yeah, I didn't do a lot of the side stuff because a lot of it is similar to Yakuza 0, and really I want to try and get through these games quickly. Not because I don't like playing them, but if you watch any videos on this channel, you'll know that I've got a pretty significant backlog on Steam. So I want to try and get through those games, and so I'm concentrating mostly on the story aspect. Millennium Tower should be just around the corner. So the map is mostly pretty much the same as the first game. So I kind of know my way around without having to look at the map necessarily, which is great. So yeah, just to wrap things up here, to kind of give you an idea of oh yeah, and at the same time mention what I talked about in the previous video. So Yakuza Kiwami is a remake of the first game. I looked online because I never played the original. From what I understand, this is mostly a faithful remake to the original game, with a little bit of extra story bits here and there to kind of tie up some plot holes, which will get explained later in the franchise, but at least they're explaining it now. So yeah, this is a mostly faithful remake of the first game. So what happens is you have 1 through 5, I believe, came out, or 1 through 4? 1 through 5, I believe. And then Yakuza 0 comes out, which is a prequel to the entire franchise. And then using the new, that new engine and the assets, they made Kiwami 1 and 2, which are remakes of the first 2 games. So they both came out after 0, and then obviously 6 came out after that. So all that to say, one of the things I was kind of wondering is if they're going to tie in a lot of stuff. What were they trying to do with 0? Were they just doing it for the story? Were they trying to tie in a lot more things? As far as I can tell, there are a lot of side stuff that I did in that previous game that aren't really in this game. There are characters that from 0 that do show up in here from the side things, but not necessarily a ton of them. I'd say that's more of an exception if they do. So with that said, playing through 0 is definitely worthwhile. I'll say that right away. It does explain a lot of things which you would probably learn from playing all these games. However, you learn about them right away. So moving forward, it makes a lot more sense knowing about that stuff as opposed to kind of learning it from the side, if you will, indirectly. Yeah, one final thing. That little performance freezing issue, if you watched my video of Yakuza 0. I've had that a little bit in this game, but not as often. I've not found a new key. Great. So yeah, I've not had it happen as often. So it's definitely happened before. Restarting the game sometimes fixes it, and if it doesn't, I can also reboot the PC, which will generally fix it. It affects different people differently. Some people have never had that issue. Some people like me have had it worse in the first game than the second. Again, playing the first game, I was able to go through a huge amount of the first game before actually having problems. Sure, let's have some of that. So yeah, that's Yakuza Kiwami done. I'll be playing Kiwami 2 next. So I was playing this on Steam. I got it through a Humble Monthly bundle. Playing the Steam versions of the first two games is a little bit easier because I didn't have to re-download it. I already had them downloaded in the past, so just restored from backups on my NAS, and why I went. However, Kiwami 2 and up will all be Game Pass versions, so hopefully things go smoothly. We'll see. Game Pass is great service with terrible backend on Windows. So worst case, I'll hop on the Xbox and play them there. But anywho, that is that. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time with a video of Kiwami 2. Unless it's taking me a real long time, I might sneak something in between, but you'll probably see a video of Kiwami 2 next week. Till then, this is Mike, and I'll see you guys next time.